So, some critics have claimed that Prisoners is the new Seven. Well, that isn't lazy critiquing right there.
Dad, there was this RV and they were playing on it. We thought there was someone inside.
You wait here. Let me go. I couldn't find them.
Ahoy, me mateys! Welcome to MaffmanJones Movie Reviews. I'm John Maffio, and today's featured film is Prisoners, starring Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, Terrence Howard, Viola Davis, Mario Bello, Paul Dano, and a lot of other people. And the plot to this film, to be cryptic as I possibly could, is about Thanksgiving Day, and we have two families partaking in the feast, Hugh Jackman and Terrence Howard's. They both have young daughters. These two young daughters get abducted, and they meet Jake Gyllenhaal, who is a detective who helps them find the daughters, hopefully. And that's all I'm going to say. Ever since I saw the first trailer for Prisoners, I was excited for it, but not on that really high hype train until recently when critics were praising this movie off the roof. But it looked like a fun crime thriller. And in the end, I got a crime thriller that was intense and fun. And, well, actually not that fun. It was actually really terrifying. But I expected an intense crime thriller. And I got that, and then some. Because there's a lot more to Prisoners than one may expect. It's an intense crime thriller. And when I say intense, I really mean when I say intense. Because I was on the edge of my seat this entire flick. I couldn't even breathe. Who knows if the film's novelty will wear off after multiple viewings, but as of now, after the first viewing and the initial experience, Prisoners is one of my favorite movies of the year. Until the very end, but I'll get to that. The cast of Prisoners is as solid as a diamond in the rough. There's some very heavy sluggers too. Hugh Jackman gives one of the best performances of his career as this very worried father. Jake Gyllenhaal plays a detective in this movie, and I mean, he always has a knack for playing detectives, like in Zodiac, but he's solid in this movie too, and he really carries the film with Hugh Jackman with his performance. In addition to the rest of the cast, which is full of Oscar-experienced veterans, a lot of them don't get the chance to shine just because the script doesn't allow them to. Not because they weren't good personally, but the script didn't allow for every character to shine and have their big, heavy acting moment, but they're all good regardless. The film looks visually beautiful, despite taking place in a very bleak location. It's a very forested area, which is full of rain and snow and dirt and mud, but the way Roger Deakins, the cinematographer, photographed this movie, it just, oh my god, every shot was just framed to perfection. I really do love me a brooding atmosphere when it's done right, and it's done absolutely perfect here. However, the most intriguing aspect of Prisoners is the mysterious plot and how it unravels throughout the course of the movie. One might not expect what happens in this film because it looks like a generic crime thriller, but it's just the tip of the iceberg because there's so much more to the plot and the characters of this movie. There's a correlation with everything going on with the subplots and the characters. Everything has a reason for being there, and everything comes together with harmony by the end of the film. In the title, in the font of Prisoners, I noticed that there's a little maze in the O. And I always wonder for the last couple weeks, why is there a maze in there? It's like some Seven shit, like people have been saying, that the movie's like the next Seven. And there's an absolute clear reason why there's a maze in the font. Mazes play a key role. It's so suspenseful, it's like this really big roller coaster ride that doesn't let up once the shit hits the fan until the last moment of it. You become highly invested and immersed in the story and the world of the characters, especially Hugh Jackman's, who is so relatable because, I mean, he's trying to fly too close to the sun, and he absolutely does in this movie. It's just a very creepy movie that has very creepy characters, and the story is relatable because it happens all the time. Abductions are very common in the United States and all around the world, but it's just really, really interesting to see how far the rabbit hole goes and just finding out what's going on with these characters and why the daughters were kidnapped, where they are, and what truly is the reason for all this. You know a movie has you by the balls when you're predicting and second-guessing yourself, like, within every scene. I was trying to predict what was going to happen throughout the course of the movie, and I got one thing right. I got one thing right involving Paul Dano's character. Everything else, I had no idea. It was very unpredictable, and the surprises, the twists, were really, really genuinely surprising. The twists were also satisfying, which is very important to a film, because if the build-up isn't building to a crescendo that has payoff, like worth it payoff, then your movie fails completely. But if it's okay with you guys, I want to go on a little rant, because during the last scene of the movie, the maintenance crew, the cleanup crew of the theater I went to in Queens, in the AMC theater, they came in, and it was 3 of them, and during the last scene, they started talking, which is fine if they're whispering, but they were talking extremely loud, like they were in a cafeteria, and they were laughing, talking about their girlfriends and shit. You have these guys in the back just being rude, talking over the movie and the dialogue going on in the last scene, and it ruined the momentum of the scene, first of all, and it also almost ruined the entire experience of the movie because these guys just couldn't shut their fucking mouths. But before I digress even more, Prisoners overall was one of the best experiences I've had in the theater this year. It had incredible acting, it had incredible cinematography, the story kept me guessing throughout the whole 2.5 hours of it, and I never had a dull moment. The movie is just so suspenseful, very intense. I was shaking on the edge of my seat, and it was very comfortable seats too. They were cushy, like really cushy and sweet and cute. But like the whole movie, I was like, oh my god. It was just great movie. I highly recommend it. If you get the chance to see it, go see it, and then go see Rush next week because there's a lot of great movies coming out right now. I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's maffiodosiously darn good. If you, yes you, have seen Prisoners yet, or you plan to see it, let me know what you thought about this very intense thriller in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this review, please subscribe to MaffmanJones below so you won't miss another MaffmanJones review. Like the video, and check out my Facebook, Twitter, and We Live Film links in the info box. I'm John Maffio, aka MaffmanJones, and 24601, you stole a loaf of bread! See you next time.
I know you know where